guys, Evan from Gymaware. We're really happy to be supporting Coach DeMayo's podcast series once again. For those that don't know, our main product is Gymaware. It's the gold standard for measuring performance and implementing velocity-based training in the weight room. It excels in busy team training environments, and for many coaches, it's the Swiss Army knife of their toolkit. The Gymaware is used for athlete profiling, jump testing, fatigue monitoring, and for lifting within velocity zones. The system provides real-time feedback on individual targets, plus it's got an impressive range of leaderboards. Now, for those that are after a VBT device that's affordable, for the individual and for smaller groups, we recently released our new laser-based product, Flex. Importantly, it's been independently validated and proven to be both accurate and reliable. So if you're interested in either product, or you want to learn more about the velocity-based training and how it can help you as a coach, check out our website or contact us directly. So in the meantime, we trust you enjoy the Coach DeMayo's podcast, Outside the Rack.
The world of strength and conditioning is filled with some fantastic practitioners that are always searching for more. But more what? What are strength and conditioning coaches searching for to better their ability to prepare their athletes? Well, what about cutting-edge information? Or a place where you can find different opinions from forward-thinking coaches on what you're doing, how you're doing, and try to get feedback to be better for your athletes? Or what about a place where you'll find like-minded coaches that can provide solid coaching advice and career development for you as you progress through your career as a strength and conditioning professional? Well, this is exactly why we built the Strength Coach Network. You'll have access to exclusive monthly content on top of the sensationally active forum that we have where you can communicate with coaches all over the world to find those answers that you're looking for to help you be a better practitioner for your athletes. So make sure you hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS, that's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS, and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 60th episode of Outside the Rack, brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of Gymaware. In this show, we're just going to try to dive a little deeper into the minds of the top practitioners in the world of sport performance to learn a little bit more about who they actually are and how they got to where they are today. Today, we are joined by the San Jose Sharks Director of Strength and Conditioning, Mike Potenza. Mike, thanks for being with us, bud.
Thanks for having me. Always love coming on and rapping with you.
Yeah, man. Fired up, man. Just super happy to see you. Glad you're doing great. Yeah. So happy to get to watch hockey again here of late. It was, like we were talking before.
They did
great
a great
product.
The bubble. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah. All of these sports. And we'll get into some more of that later, I'm sure. But before we get too far, brother, who is Mike?
Oh, you're really making me dive deep, right, into my soul here. I'm a lot of things. I'm not going to use any four-letter words, I guess, to describe myself in this show. But I would say, as a coach, what brought me into this field was, I love to teach and I love to make it, people around me better, the athletes. And I on my tombstone, I want that, and I want like my coaching to reflect that I was a team first guy, and everything that I try to do emulates that in the gym and how I interact with guys. I think when you get to this level, there's a lot of, selfish or individual personalities, but you have to come together as a team to get towards that successful point. I mean, there's not a team that was in that bubble that got far in that playoffs that weren't tight. Their culture wasn't like bulletproof, and guys played for each other. I would say I'm a professional who doesn't have all the answers, but I love digging up the answers. I love interacting and learning, and especially interacting with my peers like yourself and guys that we call close friends in the field. I love that. I almost, sometimes I'm embarrassed to say, I'm proud to say at the same time, is that my network has really educated me probably more than some seminars at times. I can call and rap with anybody and talk to them for an hour or 2 hours and just gain so much knowledge and find different places to look that it's great. I'm a friend, I'm a loyal friend, a friend who always has your back, a friend who loves seeing the successes in others, maybe more so than when maybe I make small achievements in my life, but I just love to see, a friend do well in whatever they do. Life new baby, getting married, or, you know, whatever, promotion. And then I would say as a family man, you know, I'm a blessed, you know, husband, probably because my wife puts up with me, you know, but she's been an amazing partner, and we've been on this adventure together now for almost 20 years. And she's blessed me with 3 kids who are the love of my life, and they're the most exhausting thing in my life. But, you know, their ninja skill is that they take your soul and take your energy, but then they can give it right back to you in an unbelievably cunning way. But, you know, that's what they do, you know.
That's awesome though, man. And I don't know if I've ever heard it said that way. Their ninja skill.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I'm sure too, now that with, you know, school and everything, I'm sure that's a different, unique sort of challenge altogether.
Yeah, I'm not traveling, so we get more time together. We got, you know, a lot more playtime, a lot of different things to do, and taking, you know, adventures and little trips around this area, you know, whether it be, you know, we there was so many good parks around here that we never really had a chance to hit up as much as we have now. So that's been fun, you know, that's been fun.
No, man, that's rad. And I'm glad that you're able to take advantage of it. You know, as we continue to go down here, this one actually I'm really excited about, because not only are you a guy who has a really a great network and a great thought process when it comes to digging and prodding and finding different answers, but you're also a guy who looks in different directions for different things that a lot of other coaches do. You know, like the nutrition stuff that we've talked about is a great example.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, describe a learning situation that brought about an epiphany in your career.
Yeah. Geez, there's a couple I'm gonna highlight. One was my first whole year in the NHL was an epiphany. You know, coming from college athletics and coming from working internships in the private industry. You know, I consulted with a lot of guys who were in the league that were, you know, older than me and had been doing it for a while. And, you know, it was like, well, you know, you don't have a lot of time for stuff. It's going to be a lot of team-based programming. And like, okay, you know, I got it. It sounds like, you know, what we've always done, you know, and I really learned quickly that that's not the case. Like, there was more individualization that had to be done because of a million reasons: injury history, current injury, age, right? I went from an age span of 18 to 22, or from 18 to 22 in college, to 18 to 40. So, and then guys carrying baggage. And then when you start to evaluate, you're like, oh my God, I can't squat this guy with no ankles, you know, like I can't, you know, with bad spine, I got to find different. And I think you'd appreciate this, is like when you're climbing up the ranks, you learn to structure your program for your groups so that you can manage them as efficiently as possible, right? You can't, I don't think ever I heard an older coach tell me like, oh yeah, you got to individualize everything while you're working in college and coming up the ranks. There's no way. It's almost, we learn the opposite, right? And then I get here and I'm like, holy crap, like I really got to have some more individualizations to fit everybody's needs and get everything done. So that was the aha moment for me. But it's been fun, because then guys know, like, all right, he's got my best interest at heart and what I need to work on, you know. My first combine was another epiphany, because the only combine I knew was the NFL combine, and numbers really, really mattered. You know, numbers changed draft position, and the numbers were, you know, I don't want to say more than the tape that guys watched, but they were of high value, maybe almost just as important as the tape. So I went into that first evaluation after the combine like I was, you know, determining that this guy sucked because he couldn't jump, you know, 27 inches on a vertical jump. But at the same time, we have an amazing director of scouting who's been around the game for a long time, and old, rough and gruff. And I thought he was going to chew my head off, but he was like, Mike, this isn't the NFL combine. Guys are going to play if they can't jump very high because they're highly skilled. And your job is to tell us how long it's going to take to get that guy to jump a 30. I'm like, case in point, got it. I got it completely crystal clear now, you know? So I've shaped my combine evaluation to look at the needs of guys and how we are going to get them to that point. What's it going to take? How many, is it years? Is it 1 year, you know, and who's unique? Like the European guys may not come in as strong and fit as the college hockey players, but they have a lot more games played, you know, so their metabolic conditioning is almost geared towards having that many games played, but not as much power development, you know, so you got to kind of take those things into consideration. And then I would say the other big epiphany, we went to the finals in 2016 and we lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but at the same time, it was an aha moment to say, wow, we got some older studs and we don't know how long they're going to be here for. So who's my next culture? These guys created an amazing culture, top to bottom, you know, of training and of work on the ice and being good teammates. It's like when they're gone, because they're going to retire, who's the next wave of guys? And really, I tried to focus a lot of my energy on them and pushing them to buy into, not that they already bought in, but almost take that next step of being a mentor to guys in the physical area. You know, I would tell young guys to look at our, you know, 6 and 7, 8 year players, the next wave of captains. So those were, I could probably keep going with the list, but those are the biggest things I know that have jumped out to me.
Man, I'm going through that last one right now. Like we've got a team that like our starting five, I think each one of them is 22 or 23 years old. And we've got a younger group, like 4 kids that came in as freshmen. And it's like finding that balance of being like, we have an opportunity to be good because we have these experienced older guys, and letting them be the experienced older guys and then being like, oh, dang, they're going to be gone. So how can we get them to teach these young kids like all of this stuff that they figured out and has made them successful? Like, how do you build your routine? What are the things that are important when you're thinking about recovery and how you're eating and, you know, how you get prepared for practice every day, what different things there are and how you can establish yourself getting better every day, which these 5 guys have figured out. So now it's like trying to, you know, let the old dogs teach the young ones these things. And it's, but without being like, let's not worry about how good we could be. Like, you know, like you guys got to do you still, but how can you help us also with it? That's been a really fun challenge.
Yeah. One example I'll tell you is we had a young player and he wasn't scoring, you know, and he was in a rut and the player, I could tell he was frustrated. I'm like, you can't be frustrated until you've done every single thing possible. And what I mean by that is we have a group of older guys going on the ice 15 minutes before practice and working on things. I'm like, jump in that line with them. You know, you know, you're going to work out of your game if you're putting in the time, you know, and those guys are doing it. If you take any lesson from them, watch them before they go on the ice every single day. What time are they up in the gym? Well, the 45 minutes before. I'm like, okay, because we can work on individual things and then we get into our team-based program, you know. It's those individual, it's been, at least for us, it's a lot of like watching the older guys' habits too, you know, and the young guys can take from them, you know, because they've had
100%. Yes.
One of them have had success or have gotten out of slumps quicker, you know, so.
And they've been there. Like they know it. Like they're giving you the answer to the test. Like, why would you sit there and be like, no, I'm just going to try to figure it out myself? And like, no, here's the answers. Like, take those. Yeah. This is what helped.
Yeah. And it worked.
Yeah. You know, what do we know? You know?
I'm just the guy at the weight room mixing the shakes. I know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's all. I just sit at the end of the bench, put a stool down to smack people on the ass when they do things good, you know?
Couple high fives, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's really it. Well, listen, man, I mean, you're a guy, Mike, that's, again, like I was saying, like you're not afraid to dig, you're not afraid to prod and go different routes. So, I mean, I'm really fired up to ask, if you could ask one question, what would that question be and why?
Yeah. This one's interesting. And I think for as good as our culture's been, you know, you keep a core, and then you get guys from other teams that, you know, that you think can help your team and just make you more dominant. But I really want to know, like, what's the best way to reach the unreachable athlete? You know, whether it's from a training standpoint, whether it's from not buying into a team culture standpoint, right? And maybe not buying into team tactics, right? Because there's going to be a point, and we've seen it. It's like guys have success, they come in, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, maybe they're, you know, targeted, you know, tactically by the other team, or whether the game has changed a little bit, they could hit a wall, you know. And without that work, and without them buying into that type of system of creating good habits on and off the ice, you know, without that system, then they're just going to stagnate, right? So my thing is, and you have guys who are obviously have strong attitudes and confident, obviously, but to break through that and get them to buy into an idea of, okay, how do I get them to work at a high level, you know, because things come easy. That's what I want to. That's what I wish I knew more about, you know. My thing to go to is, like, have the hard conversation, you know, have the hard conversation of, like, hey, you're not pulling the rope within the culture, you know, like, this is what our culture is and how we do things, and we've had success. Like, you got to become part of that. We start there, you know, but they've been developing a system of that. That's what I'd love to learn more about, you know.
Yeah, I think we've all had
and some guys it doesn't work, you know, like, you got to agree, right? So it's just like, you know what, you're not going to fit here. So, you know, you got to agree to disagree. It is what it is, but you can't bring our culture down. So,
no, I think that's an absolutely brilliant question, because being able to reach the unreachable would really fix a lot of things. Or even more so, when you know that they're unreachable now, kind of removing that is almost as important, if not more so.
You know what? I'll share this with you. If you have a guy that's unreachable and you let him continue or her continue to do their thing, you know, not following what your team culture is, and just, you know, then you lose the respect and you lose your other guys, because they want the culture just as much, you know. And yeah, they're saying, well, I'm doing it, why isn't he doing it or she doing it? But it's like, they want you to uphold that culture with them, because they're trying really hard to as well, you know. So you almost, as a coach, owe it to the other players who are really doing a good job of keeping your identity, your team identity, you know. And that person has to come in and join it. So
no doubt. Well, listen, man, like, you're a guy in the league, running around,
yeah,
studying, growing, developing, you know, the family. But what's Mike's escape? Like, how do you get back to neutral?
Yeah. I've appreciated neutral a lot more these days than I have, you know, in the past, you know, when I was in my early 30s, I guess. But, you know, I really love playing with the kids, you know, like, if we're going out in the yard or you know, where it brings me back to my childhood and the neighborhood I kind of was in, and we had such a good time, you know, playing games and wiffle ball and whatever, manhunt. And, you know, I can do that with the kids and they love it. Like, they just love doing it. And there's those days where I come home and I'm tired and I just want to sit on the couch, but they're like, hey, can we play wiffle ball? And I'm like, yep, let's go. You know, and again, it's one of those times where you're exhausted, but they give you that energy back, you know? And it's fun, because then I think it's exciting for them, because it's helping their athletic career, because they've gotten into sports more, I think, because we play a lot at home, you know. And the selfish thing that my escape is golf. You know, if I really enjoy I really enjoy the game. I'm not very good, believe me, I'm not at all. But if you can get out there with a good group of guys from work or you know, friends, then it's fun. I just don't have that big chunk of time sometimes, but you know.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on both. Like, it is fun. I'm not good, but it is a good getaway. there's plenty of people that do what we do that are good.
Yeah.
And I don't want to play with them because
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
get too competitive and get frustrated.
Totally.
But nah, man. Well, listen, Mike, man, appreciate your time, brother. This is sensational, and we'll be in touch real soon, my man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Take
Yeah,
care.
man. Cheers. Thank you.